Welcome to the SLTP Podcast, which is essentially the SLTC Discord making a podcast. I'm your temporary host, Dylan, or Edge. With me, we've got Josh Shadawx, we've got Chris Very Hungry, and we've got Ed, who's just Ed. Do you ever have a tag, or is it always just Ed?
Just Ed.
Just Ed. So, everyone, how's it going?
It's going good.
Yeah, it's all right.
We're trying to figure out the podcast thing, as so to speak. Everyone seems to be doing it. We figured we'd give it a shot. So, we might have some people jumping in and out. It'll as we go along, it'll be a rotating cast, so it might not be the four of us every time. It might not be me hosting every time. But it was something that SLTC wanted to do for a little while, and so we figured, why not? Let's give it a shot. So, here we are. Except one of the people, Rip Dave, for whatever reason, he was like one of the most excited to be here for it, and he's not even here. So, hopefully he'll be here next time.
Somebody call him. Yeah.
Someone call him. So, for today's episode, I think most of what we want to talk about is Continentals, our prep for Continentals, how Continentals went. For one of us, it went really well. For a couple of us, it didn't go so well, but it was still a very good time. Talk about, I don't know, what did you say you want to talk about, Josh? Talk about puzzles?
Yeah, we could talk about like the news that's been around.
Lorcana news.
Yeah. I guess let's start with Continentals. Maybe I'll take over since I'm the only one who wasn't there. So, anyways,
you were there.
I was there in spirit. Yeah.
No, you were there physically too.
I was there physically, but
Oh, you didn't play a main event.
Yeah, I didn't play main event, and my LCQ was interesting. So
actually, I think that's actually where I do want to start. How was because like the logical like transition of the weekend was like Friday was the LCQs, Saturday was the actual event, Sunday we'll probably mostly just talk about Ed. But like overall LCQs, how many people did we have from SLTC in LCQs? It was you, Fumbles,
me, Fumbles,
Tyler,
Pandemonium,
Tyler.
There was,
Josie. Steve, because he top 16'd.
Yes.
Yes. Bruno.
Yep. Bruno, Blazing Asian, Haymaker, Matt Petal.
Haymaker, yeah.
Oh, I think Dale's brother.
Oh yeah, Lazaro and Sarek as well.
Oh yeah, and Sarek.
So there was quite a few of us.
And we only managed to sneak two through.
Mm-hmm. But those two
did very well. For the hit rate was very high in the actual event once the hit rate got in.
Yeah, but they were inspired by Harlan's run in EU, right?
Yeah,
apparently. Make it past LCQ.
So talk about your LCQ run. Like what happened? Because your story is crazy, and I don't think a lot of people know about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like making too much of a commotion, but
well, no, like
overall LCQs I think was kind of okay in terms of how it was run, like compared to what I've heard about the EU ones.
Well, at least we knew where our tables were.
Yeah. Luckily they kept their tables all nice and organized, and we also the way the tables were set up, so you were actually like sitting with the rest of your pod, so I could look over and see, oh, these guys are in my pod. I see like there's like a ton of amber steel or red blue or whatever, right? So I can kind of scout while playing or after my match instead of having to. I don't know exactly how it was for you, if they were spread out or anything, but I didn't have to go far basically to see what I'm possibly up against.
The way that Zan explained it, I think they were spread out. Like
That's what I think, yeah.
Yeah, the way he explained it was that they were like, you could be at table 452 or like table 67 and be in the same pod, which to me seems weird. Like you want to be like relatively centralized, I thought, but I guess they were trying to potentially prevent scouting. I don't know.
That's what I think too. They were trying to prevent like that kind of scouting, or make it much harder for someone to do. And I think the other issue there was they also had side events that were also kind of put in between the tables or something, or using
which seems extremely weird.
Which is what I think happened to him. Yeah, but yeah, overall I think it seemed like an improvement from EU. But yeah, the run was fine. So I played red purple with Queen's Castle, your favorite card.
Red purple. okay.
Yeah.
Red,
The
purple.
the deck that Friday Ed comes up to me and goes, "Why are you playing red purple tomorrow? That deck's trash."
It is not great. Agreed.
Yeah, I've
I'm a
heard it's
dim-
not great,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but you know, I gotta see it for myself, right?
Yeah.
Or wait, should I
How
call
many-
it Ruby Amethyst? Is that?
Legally, Ruby.
Yeah,
Amethyst.
Is
legally.
it legally Ruby?
Yeah.
Okay, legally Ruby Amethyst.
Hold on,
So
let's
we
bring
need
it
yeah.
up.
someone to pull up the deck list. You know what I mean? We need like a screen guy.
Oh yeah, and post.
Do you have your deck list saved?
I do, unfortunately, somewhere.
Because
Unfortunately.
I was just about to ask how many castles you played, but I guess if we brought the deck list up, then I wouldn't have to ask
Yeah.
stupid questions.
Editor, insert it somewhere if it's a video. But
right there.
anyway,
It's right there.
Can I share my?
You
I
can
think
share your screen in
Okay.
this.
you're supposed
Ed was
to
doing it
be able
before.
to.
Yeah, I thought
That
I.
wasn't me, bro. That's a different Asian person.
For those of you that are listening, we're using. For those of you that are listening, we're using this program called Riverside.fm for the first time. So we're trying a couple things out so that when this gets released, it might be audio version only, but we may try the video version. I don't know. It's going to depend on how difficult it is. But
Okay, we got it.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Actually, let me just save the image. Maybe it's better that way.
So you're playing. So for those of you that again listening, so we got 3 castles, only 3 B prep, which I find is illegal, but we cut 1 B prep for the Dragon's Fire. 10 ones with 2 of them being Olaf's. We cut 1 Flynn to make room for that, and then the rest of it is what I would consider stock before Continentals, because it has genies in it. And we'll talk a little bit about that because I played red purple in Continentals. Obviously, Ed played red purple in Continentals. Chris, what did you play? Did you play Amber Steel?
I did play Ember Steel, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, but I think before the tournament, what we considered stock was 4 genie, and you cut a genie.
Yeah, Rabbit's just good.
Rabbit is very good.
Because like that's usually what people toss it up to, right? It's like Rabbit or Genie or some mix of both. And
At the very beginning of the meta, it was definitely Rabbit or Genie, and then I just remember talking with Ed about it, and it was like, well, why aren't you just playing both? And so then we were
Oh, yeah,
playing
that's
both,
fun.
we were playing both internally, and then you played Battle of the Bay, and then everyone knew that you just play both.
Yeah, that was fun.
Anyways, continue talking about your own. So you played Ruby Amethyst. You played this list.
yeah, I played this list. Castles were like okay, but I don't know. Library does seem much better, but I don't know. Castle has its like moments to shine against like red blue especially sometimes, but I think the recent discussion was like Hideaway we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's like where it makes it feel really really bad compared to Library. But thankfully that never came up, so I must be right with Castle.
You're right for the day anyway.
Yeah, for the day. So, anyways, round 2. So I won round 1 versus Steel Song, a
Yeah.
traditional Steel Song, and then round 2 was a red purple mirror, and it goes to game 3, so it's like pretty long and drawn out. And then, so we get the announcement like 5 minutes, remaining or whatever. I don't even know if it was an announcement or not, but we kind of looked over and we saw time was coming up because my opponent also wrote it down that like the round ends at I think it was 2:15 or something. So matches are finishing up. Judges, start to hover around to see how things are going. Time gets called, so we're in turns, and when time comes around or even gets near it, you start to play differently, right? Like you start to
Yeah.
expend more resources. You start to look for a way to win within the 5 turns, right? So in that time, I was like tossing out B preps. I was trying to keep the board small. I was deliberately holding goat plus bounce for the final turn. So yeah, time gets called. I think we're in turn 2 of time, and then we're both told that there was actually an error, and we still have 5 minutes left in the round, and we're not in turns anymore. So now I'm just
Oh no!
I'm sitting there with like a goat, a bounce, and I think like a rabbit or a tremaine or something, and my opponent still has like 6 cards in hand, and I'm like, oh well, so much for this. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened, and from there my opponent just won because he out-resourced me for those next 5 minutes.
Because you had card advantage and you were
Yeah.
trying to go for the lore.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's essentially what happened. And I think there was 1 or 2 other tables. I know at least one other match that was also affected, and he was telling me that when time was called on him, it was a red blue mirror, and he had to like Maldragon a Tipo, and then they told him that they're not in time anymore.
Oh, I think that might be more tragic. Oh my
That
goodness.
sounds.
Yeah, he said that was like the
equally
last move
bad.
he made before they told him, and then he was just like tilted from there.
Man, the whole time call, like we'll talk about some of the stories from Continentals, I'm assuming, but the time calls for some of the like for that weekend was crazy. Like especially with some of the stuff that like the stories from Continentals of people were unable to concede after turn 5 when they realized, oh, I can't win, and then they passed their turn and then tried to concede. And it's like, no, you're not allowed to concede because the judge to player ratio in that room was like 1 player or 6 players for every 1 judge, which is not normal for other events. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah,
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it was it made for an interesting story. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But in the end, you know, I was told that, you know, it was an unfortunate situation.
I don't even know what the like if there was the right way to solve it. What is the right way to solve it? Is it, oh, your opponent and you both thought it was turns? Do you just continue as if it was turns?
Yeah, after like talking about it and thinking about it, like the right way was like just continue to play in turns, regardless of whether it's the right time or not, since we were already in it.
Because it's not like you and your opponent disagreed on whether or not you went to time. Like you both agreed the time was called. You're in turns.
Yeah, and it's at no fault to my opponent at all, right?
Yeah,
because we were both playing under the same like situation. It's just ended up that way. So like the right play was probably to continue in turns as we were already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just ended up that way.
So that was round 2.
That was my
right?
trip. Yeah. That was round 2.
That's it.
Well, so
I won. I got to win my losers round 2 6 packs or whatever it was. So that's nice.
Oh right, because they held a redemption event for everyone that lost in round 1 and round 2.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, that was the other crazy part about all these side events was that, like, as an example, the 3v3 that we were playing in, you get your like, I guess the draw to play those events was the Baymaxes or like the promos, because they give you the promos and then for every round that you win after that, it's a pack.
Yeah, 1 pack.
That was the craziest part. Is like we were all the way into the finals of our 3v3 and we had essentially gotten a pack each.
Yeah, for the side events,
it was so weird.
For the side events, it was very lackluster in terms of like pricing compared to like a prize wall or tickets
that's
or
just
anything.
it, yeah.
Right? It's like here's your promo that everybody wanted. Now I hope you stay and play.
We literally got to a point where, so when we got to the finals of our 3v3, we were playing against, I don't know who was on Josie's 3v3 team, Ed, but we were supposed to play against her in the final, and the 6 of us all agreed, because as we were about to play our match, they called that the last round of the LCQ was about to start, and we all agreed it was better to go watch that and get the information than to play for the potential 1 pack.
Yeah, who cares about 1 pack? You get your promo and you dip, basically, is what they're saying at this point.
But I think there's a ton of Twitter photos of people that would show up to the side events and just take a picture because the person across from them was just an empty seat.
Yeah. I have a friend who actually entered every single side event and just would enter and drop, and that's it.
Just to get the promos.
Yeah, he's entered every single one, and he would just run around the room collecting them.
Yeah,
How many...
if I was playing, you can definitely do that. Because I think they try to stop it by like, oh, you have to play for 10 minutes and then we give the promos. But it's like, okay, fine, let me sit here for 10 minutes. You know what I mean? And then you dip. And then you drop from the tournament, right?
But then the issue with that was that, like, I heard stories of people just, like, sitting down at tables, like, not even participating in the tournament and still getting a promo. If they're in the general area.
That's the other problem is, like, they actually don't check. They just, if you're in an empty seat, or if you just sit in a seat and you're in the right table, they'll give it to you.
That makes sense, though.
The same thing, actually, that's interesting, is they also behave that way with sealed. So if you're sitting at an empty table, you can just get free packs.
Dang.
I mean, someone will kick you out if it's actually their spot, right? So that's like
that's the risk,
actually
right?
Shows up and like, wait a minute, sorry, I didn't know. You know,
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm in the wrong seat.
Oh, sorry, I'm dyslexic. Is this the wrong table number?
It's easy to feign inness.
Yeah.
Until you know.
Oh, this was table 59. Oh, I thought this was my table. What table were you supposed to sit at? I don't know.
Just walk away after
What does it say on
Melee?
Melee?
Just walk away after.
Yeah, overall, like I guess from the point of view of LCQ competitor or non-competitor, it's like it was okay. It's just like it was not worth the trip if you don't have other things planned or if you don't win LCQ.
Or
Did you have other things planned for the weekend? Like, did you go to Disneyland at all?
No.
That's silence. Oh no. Oh no.
At least go to Disneyland.
Hey, I was going to win. Let's just say that. That was
Dude,
the plan.
I mean, that's fair, but like I was qualified for Continentals and I still had plans to go to Disney.
Yeah, you have to. That's the rules.
But
yeah.
So I guess
yeah, it was okay overall, I guess. Like obviously improvements, but
yeah. At least like I will give them this. The venue itself was cracked.
The venue was nice.
Like everyone has said the same things, but the hall was incredible. Like it was stunning in there, which I guess leads into, so we're talking about the beginning of LCQs. So if we talk about the end of LCQs, so like I alluded to, we were about to play our 3v3 match and they called. And so for the last round of LCQs, they literally put all the finals in one gigantic square section of tables. And everyone was watching. Like that might have been a bigger crowd than Ed's finals. I think
they should have had it in the pit. You know what I mean? Like
they really should have.
That would have been sick, actually.
That would have prevented people from like actually like hovering over people.
Yeah.
Well, so there was people hovering, and then the judges came in, and then they cleared like a square, because so what ended up happening was, Jay, Lizard Kitty, who else? I think there was 4 of us. We started going around, and we would go row to row, and we would track what everyone was playing in each seat, so we could figure out what the like meta was for the LCQs. And when we finally got the numbers and we looked, it was 40% red blue in the LCQs, which was crazy. Like even when it was round 4, I remember walking by and looking at all the games that were being played. It was like almost all red, blue, red, purple, amber, steel, which makes sense, but like it was everywhere. That was it. And then when you start going through the numbers, and it was like, of the 64 players, I think it was like 26 were on red, blue. Like it was that, tracking those numbers actually changed what I was playing for the next day. Because I went from, because I guess to allude to some of our prep, when we did some of our prep calls, most of us were on the fence of like 20% red blue, but I think most of us were thinking that red purple was going to be the most popular deck in the room. But Friday night at LCQs, I changed my mind. I don't know if anybody else, like Ed, I know you've already talked about like walking around LCQs and seeing library, but did the amount of red blue at those tables change how you built your deck other than library?
Oh yeah, of course. It took Genie out of my deck, right? Like,
well, yeah.
That's one of the primary reasons why I took it out. It's really bad against red blue, right? So it made sense for me to take it out. And I guess I already had some idea, right? Like when you go to the tournament, you can kind of look at all the data, you know, especially on Friday, right? I know some people like to say, you know, the best deck is the one you prepare literally on Friday night, because you actually have like the most latest data, right? Yeah. Versus if you prep your deck like before you came, you actually are missing a big piece of the information. So I think it's important to kind of scout and kind of see what everyone's doing. And the red blue numbers were kind of staggering, but to me it kind of made sense, right? Because I think the main kind of, you know, rock paper scissors, the format is, you know, ruby sapphire and then ruby amethyst, amber steel. But I think it's totally possible for all the ruby sapphire players to actually even potentially 2-0 all the ruby amethyst players if they're just, you know, better players, right?
Yep.
So it's actually totally possible that ruby sapphire just beats all the decks, and then there's like mirrors, and then some people play those kind of teched out as well, and then those are the guys that probably made it out of the pods, right? Yeah. So to me, it actually made a ton of sense. Like even though you expected ruby sapphire, right? Like you still weren't like able to consistently 2-0 it. It's actually very difficult, right? Even if you know, are playing your teched out deck, it's very possible still to lose. So I think that's why kind of ruby sapphire was so popular, because, you know, it was very hard to 2-0 that deck.
It was. Most of us are like snickering in the background, sorry Ed, because Rick just joined.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
like
I saw, yeah.
slunked his way in. Except he's
Hey,
muted.
buddy.
You need to fix your mic. We can't hear you.
I
No.
still can't hear you.
No.
Still can't
You
hear
have to
you.
change your input. It's on the right-hand side. It'll look like a microphone icon, and just set it to your desired microphone.
He'll figure it out.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess in the meantime, how about for you, Dylan and Chris? Did it affect your deck building the night before?
It 100% did, because the guy who just joined our podcast took a picture of me because I was going into the tournament like fully prepped on playing green steel. So when Ray started playing his deck, I think it was New Year's Eve, where I was playtesting against Ray, and Ed was watching us, and I just remember playing because I was playing Blurple, and Ed made a joke. He was like, "Dude, you two aren't even playing the same game," and I just went, "Yeah, fuck this. I'm playing this deck," and so I started spamming green steel. Was prepped. There we go. Now we can hear you.
Welcome.
Prepped to play green steel, and then saw that the room was 30% or like 30 to 40% red blue, and I was like, this sucks. And so I sat down and I was like, Rick, let's play a game. I played one game of green steel versus red blue, lost, and went, screw this, I'm playing red purple.
You know what? Like, did you guys practice like playing green steel into red blue? It feels so terrible if you don't just have the nuts.
But so that was the other thing, is that
It's
so
terrible.
when you shift in Diablo, it feels great. And there were other games where you'd start Cursed Merfolk, and those games would probably be fine too because you could out-aggro them out. But the problem is that the game that we played, the test game that we played, I literally looked at my hand and went, this hand is great versus red-blue. I started Cursed Merfolk, I aggroed you out, I got to 18 lore, and then you beat me.
Yep. Shark and Pirate's Life does some things, huh?
And so there's a
back into the game.
And so there's a picture of me sheepishly sitting at a table, sleeving my deck because I unsleeved green steel and was sleeving red purple.
I had the exact same experience. I played Ed like I think 30 games, green steel versus red blue, like his red blue list with like scars and things like I wouldn't expect, so that like we weren't playing like some stock red blue list.
Yeah.
And I don't think I won a single game in those 30 games.
Like the matchup is so hard.
If it makes you feel better, I never won a red blue match against Ed either, so you know.
Oh, okay.
That's what made me swap to Diggy, was like, or at least a Diggy version that was teched against purple.
Yeah, you guys had a very cool Diggy version, from what I heard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they published the deck list.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, for the LCQ, all the finals, all the winners.
Darn.
Oh, because oh, sorry, his name's
Charles?
escaping me.
Our friend
Charles.
Charles.
Yeah, because Charles played Dig. Because that's the crap that threw me off, is that I played Charles in Continentals, and I mulliganed as if he was playing Amber Steel, and then he was playing Red Purple. He got me. But anyway, because even in our spreadsheet that we had for the tournament, someone put Charles as Amber Steel in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, it was correct though. I mean, he was playing it.
Correct,
yeah, was is the keyword.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Anyway,
You can change your deck for the tournament.
Yeah.
but Dan, so Chris, were you planning on playing Green Steel going into Continentals too?
Yeah, like a week prior, but then I started testing Diggy. Instead of playing like the bodyguards, I was playing like blue and no mines.
Yeah.
Just go full aggro and go super fast.
Go full face.
We were talking about Diggy like for I want to say 12 hours in California Adventure on Thursday with Charles. Ed would just be like rambling about like Amber Steel while we're in line for like Incredicoaster and like Toy Story Mania, pulling up like the Lorcana app on the phone. Like, okay, we need to play these cards. These cards are so broken into all the purple matchups. Hercules, Prince Eric, Pluto. I was like,
oh my god,
on, man.
Yeah.
But then we actually played it out and it was actually really good because you could protect Piglet for like infinite turns. You just kept dropping bodyguards against the purple decks and
Lilo.
And
I
Lilo,
think that was the other breaker. The one cost Lilo
Mhm.
actually swung like the red blue matchup like way.
You guys are
into
playing
Diggy's
Lilo
favor.
in the Diggy in your guys' Diggy version.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Four
okay.
Lilo and 4 Hercules.
Honestly, the biggest thing that I hate as a red blue player on one is a 2 lore pip character, and one that doesn't give you shit like Daisy. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference when you see Merfolk on one or Lilo on one. Because you really have to, like, you can't let them gain the free lore. That's 6 free lore right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when they go triple ones, like it increases your chance to go triple ones, right? Because
Right.
like the original version only runs 8, and then now, or like I guess 11. But Happy is like, if you see
Happy's
Happy,
fake.
who cares?
Happy
Yeah,
is
it's not a real card.
Happy's a fake card.
Yeah, and then you see like Lilo Daisy, and you're like, oh god, I'm dead. You know what I mean?
Lilo.
And then Hercules, and you're like, oh, that is not good.
Now all of a sudden this Tala that you're like, oh, I'm gonna trade into this Lilo, and it's like, no, you can't do that.
It's not great.
Honestly, with how bad Ed was gaslighting me on Friday, I thought he was playing Amber Steel because Charles was on Amber Steel, and how much you were saying, yo, Red Purple sucks. I was so convinced you were playing Amber Steel.
Dude, Chris came up to me. He's like, yo, we got an Amber Steel deck. Like, I don't want to be, like, talking it up too much, but we got an Amber Steel deck. And I'm just like, all right, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
Wait,
I mean,
that's
they
actually
won one of the LCQ pods, right? So I think it was actually
That was right at the end of the
legitimate
LCQ
deck,
pods.
honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a real deck.
It was such a real deck. Yeah, there was a good chance that he was gonna play it. I was like really expecting Ed to be on like not red purple for Saturday, but then
I
after
was
round
too.
3, he
I thought it was gonna be red
oh,
blue.
I played Rabbit, bounced Rabbit. I was like, wait, I thought you were playing red blue. He's like, no, I'm playing red purple.
I mean,
was like, oh, okay.
It could have been any of the decks, to be honest, but it was just kind of at the last minute.
Okay,
Would you really expect him to be on anything else? He says
Yeah.
Red Purple
I
stuff
what
all
I
the time.
I just said I fully expected him until I sat next to him, and we were both playing Red Purple in round 2. I was like, it's not on Red Purple. But
I mean, there was so much red blue, right? It's like
there was
well,
so
if
much.
you just tilt it so much to beat red blue, then maybe you have a good shot at doing well at the tournament. Right?
And that was it. Like I thought I teched enough for red blue, and if you told me going into Continentals that I would play red blue twice in my first 3 rounds, I would be ecstatic. Except I 0-2-1-1 against red blue. One of which we could talk about when we start getting into Continentals, but one of which I had him at 19 with a goat in play, and I lost that game. Very sad.
Pirate's Life.
Pirate's Life is a dumb card. But anyway, is there anything to talk about Friday now, or is that it?
I think we can go into your runs.
Supper was sweet.
Yeah.
Dude, what, Friday night dinner?
Friday night dinner was great.
Friday night dinner was like the best part of Friday for me.
Well, you also had a rough day Friday.
Dude, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, Josh, you probably talked about your.
I
talked about
mine
his,
already.
yeah.
Yeah. How was
Like,
yours?
Mine was quick, you know.
Oh no!
I played Blurple, so did Joseph Quigley, our boy. Me and him were on pretty much the same list, except for the night before, I cut Donald's and he kept Donald's and put in an extra Hades and just played 61. So pretty much like we were pretty much on the same list, and I don't think any of those changes would have helped me. But I played into red purple, and it was just like he had great start game 1. I leveled it out, and he just had goat bounce goat, and like just was able to win it just purple cards. Game 2 stomped him. Like I put a manor down early and just like controlled the game, and that manor got me like 12 lore. In game 3, he just had like the nuts, and then I just had a slow start. Just had 4 rabbits in hand, which is not really what I needed at the time.
Sag. That was quick.
Yeah, because he was also on Big Sisu too, my opponent, and Big Sisu kind of wrecks Blurple pretty hard.
Yeah, Big Sisu in red purple was very good against Blurple, very good against Diggy.
Yeah,
it's good against all the meta decks, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
I mean, Sisu's kind of a good card, right?
Sisu is I mean, I don't think red blue would be as good as it is if it weren't for Big Sisu. It just does so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think low-key the format actually is wrapped around Sisu, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, if I expose my board to Sisu, it's like you just lose the game, right?
Yeah.
So
We were literally cutting
cutting
genies, which people were clamoring as one of the best cards in the entire game because of Sisu.
Yeah, it is because of Sisu, right? Like you do the thing where you go like Genie Rabbit or Genie, and then they play Sisu.
And then they shift
oh,
Sisu.
man.
Not even that. How easy is it to shift Sisu now with a sail?
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah, because
You sail
let's
into
give
small Sisu.
let's give red blue not only an inkable 1 jump ahead, but oh by the way, it comes in unexerted, so you could play Popsicle on turn 3 or on turn 4 if you've already got like ramped. sail, ink. Oh, I could play a 3 cost, this Sisu, and then next turn have 6 ink for shift. Like, it's nuts. But
that line is too strong.
For sure.
Especially with like a turn 1 ice block. It's just
especially if you're in on deck that can't kill that Sisu.
Or the ice block.
Or both, yeah.
Or both, yeah.
I mean, even if you kill the small Sisu, you still have to deal with like Shark, for example, right? What if they just play Shark, then what? Then you're also like in a kind of a tough spot if you're playing aggro, right?
That's why I played Red Blue at Set Champions. It's just like, you just attack at so many different axes. Like you're like, oh, I'm just gonna shift into Sisu. Oh, I'm just gonna like ramp into turn 4 Shark, and now you can't exert your things, or this how far I'll go that helped me get to turn 4 Shark is going to give me infinite value, or oh, I'm just gonna play the long game, and if you get to too high enough lore, now a Pirate's Life can just loop with Shark, or you just play Pirate's Life to stall you out to give you long enough time. Like it's the deck is so good right now.
Or Maximus,
Or Maximus.
Maximus.
But I think that's a fascinating thing about Red Blue. There are a lot of cards that just aren't like tapped in yet. Like Mulan is a good example, or like Maximus is like, obviously we kind of joke about it, but that's a crazy combo that's not that far away from being better. It's
Maximus was almost a Christmas miracle.
Dude, when was that, Josh, were you the one who started Maximus? It was JDZ.
No, it was JDZ.
I just won a set champ with it, that's all.
Yeah,
like that's why we were talking about it again. But I guess this is also like a little segue into like Continentals prep, or like backtracking to it, because I feel like all of you were like on Red Blue for like a good while, and none of you ended up on it.
Yeah,
so
I think for like the last month.
For like the last month, all of you were in the Red Blue thread talking about Red Blue.
We were, especially when we started talking about Max. Like, I just remember being at my in-laws for Christmas and the Red Blue thread popping off. And I caught myself up in it. And I was like, why the hell are they talking about Scepter of Arendelle and Maximus? And then I started actually like thinking about it, and I went, wait a minute, this is sick. And I just remember theory crafting at my in-laws about Christmas Miracle Maximus. And I was like, if this deck cooks the mirror or like is okay into aggro, I am playing this at Continentals. This is sick. And obviously, I didn't play it at Continentals, so it kind of fell off the wagon.
Well, we found out that there was holes in it, right? Any good deck like that, it's good, right? Like, I think we all agree that it's not a bad deck.
That deck is like 1 to 2 cards away from like actually being legit.
If support wasn't like a shit ability in general, but like that's why Scepter is a good card. So,
I think Scepter is only a good card because Hiram exists, though.
Sure. I mean, wait, Red Blue only exists because Hiram exists.
No, I know, but like you have to judge the card because it's like a 1-cost item,
sure,
right? Which is like just good, and it's inkable. It's inkable, unlike Ice Block.
Yep.
But so yeah, I guess that. I don't know. Did Chris? Were you like talking about Red Blue at 1.2?
No.
I didn't think so.
Barely touched Red Blue, only for fun.
Well, so my biggest fear, if I was in your position, because all 3 of you were playing day 1, I guess is the official term, right?
Yeah.
I would have been so afraid to play Red Blue because in my mind, every Ed in the room, every great player is going to be like, oh, I'm 2-0ing every Red Blue I see. And so...
But that's
like,
why I didn't play it, yeah.
I think that's like... That was my thought, is that deck's kind of bait. I mean, we saw it was a huge percentage, and it did convert a lot into day 2. But, like, if you're really thinking about it, like, I mean, they kind of got farmed.
The real problem that I had with Red Blue is if I were to play Red Blue at locals like I just did, I'm fine. If I even if I took Red Blue to day 1 of a DLC, I'd probably be fine. Mm-hmm. But I have to take Red Blue into a room where I haven't played a ton of Red Blue, where I actually legitimately have a chance to play against Sailor, who I have played against before, and I do not want to play a Red Blue mirror against him. And there's other people in the room that have played Red Blue as much as Sailor, and that are like maybe not as good as Sailor, but are at least better at Red Blue than I am. Whereas if you told me I had to sit down and play a Red Purple mirror against Ed, I would still be sad, but I would not be nearly as terrified because I've done it before. Well, no, but like we've done it before in like tournaments and stuff, and like at least like I feel like I could You're still gonna beat me, but I feel like I at least hold my own.
No, it's fine. You can let your true thoughts.
I mean, well, look at Kendall, for example, right? He had a rough day on red purple, right? It wasn't like the safest choice.
I legit turned I made this joke already. That tournament is super cutthroat. When you look, in the last table at the tournament is Sky versus Kendall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy sight. I was just like, wait, what's happening right now?
That was Continentals. The last table at the tournament was Sky versus Kendall. Like, nuts. Anyway, so that's why I didn't play red blue.
Yeah. So I guess moving into Continentals, aside from Ed's run that I feel has been talked about a million times, how was
historic
the rest of your runs?
It was great until I got the results back.
I see. And why? What happened there?
Because I was the only 3-2-2 to not get prizing. I was 33rd place. Which was
so
depressing.
Does 33rd not get the palace? Like, let it go?
No. So unlike the let it go, where they set the precedent where if you tied the record that you would get the promo, apparently in EU, if you tied at 3-2-2, where there was 2 or 3 people in EU that didn't get it, you didn't get the Elsa's Palace promo. And so I got paired down in the last round, 2-0'd, and made the joke, yeah, watch, because I got the pair down, my breakers are going to be ass, and I'm going to finish 33rd. And then the results got posted, and I finished 33rd. And it was heartbreaking.
That
somebody
manifested tragedy.
But that's just it. Someone had to get 33rd.
Yeah.
Chris, what was your ending position?
115. I was not doing too hot that day.
I didn't mean to like call it out like that.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I was
it's okay.
Generally curious.
I got 2-0 by Dale in round 3, and I was like super depressed because like right before lunch, and our lunch break was like 2 hours long. So I'm just like head down, like oh my god, I'm not gonna.
Wait, yeah, 2-hour long lunch break?
Dude, it was a long lunch break.
It was long. I don't know if it was that long, but it was very long. But also, like as we're talking about the lunch break, pretty quick, the food was incredible.
Yeah, the food was insane.
Like I remember when we looked at Friday, and when we saw like the confectionery near the main area, and I was like, okay, like this is Disney. Like it's like an orange chicken rice bowl, or like a burger, or pretzels, and they were like $15 American, and I was like, yep, this hurts the wallet. But no, like the lunch at the event was like braised short rib, salmon, mushroom risotto, like build your own Caesar salad, and just this gigantic dessert table with like all these desserts, which after breakfast was like a bunch of dainties and yogurt and fruit and juice. Like this was like a step up. But then somehow for day 2 lunch was like burgers.
Wait, day 2 lunch was cringe. Yeah.
Like day 1 lunch was like
a box of a turkey sandwich.
Day 1 lunch was like a meal for champions, and then the actual day 2 where the champions were, and they just gave you like, here's Sailor, here's a burger.
Yeah, that's the one where they wheeled around a wagon with it, right?
Yes.
And just kind of handed it out to people.
Like school lunch, you know?
Yeah.
It's like in a little black plastic box with like here's a roast beef sandwich and like a cold macaroni salad.
And it's funny because
an apple. Here you go.
I think at first they were telling them they have to eat at the table.
Yes.
Oh, dude, that's one of my favorite moments. Matt live commentating Hamza eating a burger.
After he just lost the mirror to Sailor, like you have to sit here and eat your burger across from Sailor.
To be honest.
But no, like
no, that was like there was someone in our Discord that was typing out everything that was happening live.
Yeah.
Word for word. Shout out to Matt Peddle for that. It's pretty funny.
Hey, Maker. I was in Disney being able to get an understanding of like I'd get off a ride and I'd go, okay, what are the matches at?
That was such a good day though. That Sunday being in Disney was a great time.
We're skipping ahead. We need to talk about
I know, sorry.
But no, so other than finishing 33rd, like our Discord, so after a really shit day 1 where we sent in like 10 plus people into the LCQs and didn't do very well, we sent, I'm trying to think of who was all qualified for Continentals. 11 of us. Spreadsheet. And we were 25% of the, well, sorry, a little under 25% because we were like 8 of top 33. I don't count because I'm not 32. But we had, so in the top 16 we had Ed Sailor, Steve, Joseph, and Kurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then in
you mean Sean, not Steve, right?
Sorry, yes, Sean. Yes, Sean. Oh my god, I got that wrong earlier too. Sean.
Okay, that's why I was confused. I was like, oh.
No,
Did I get his name wrong the whole time?
No, I got his name wrong, and I shared a hotel room with him. So I am so sorry, Sean, if you listen to this later.
Wait, where was Sean staying? Was he in the same hotel?
Yeah, he was in the same.
Okay.
So me and Steve were in one bed. Sean and his dad were in another, and then we had someone else in the cot in the hotel room. Like we were cramming it in.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so Sean, Joseph, Kurt, Sailor, Ed. And then in top 16 we had top 32 we had Wonder, Steve.
I could pull it up.
I don't count, but me. I'm trying to think of who else was top 32. Because there was one other person I thought. I could be wrong. Because that's 8. Maybe it was just those 3 in top 32. But still, 8 in the top 32 was crazy. Like, it was a stupid high hit rate after a kind of sad day 1. But
yeah,
did Judy end up 007 or was she 106?
106. She won the last one
Yeah.
against Molstar.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's her proudest achievement.
What did Judy wind up playing?
Emerald Steel, I think.
Emerald Steel.
Mid-range,
Gotcha.
Green Steel.
That's pretty good, honestly. Beating Red Blue with Green Steel. We take
Yeah,
those.
2-0 with 2.
We take those.
Yeah.
Especially because it's Molstar, like number 1 on the software that should not be named.
Yeah.
But
they never said it shouldn't be named. They just said don't make content using it.
okay.
All right.
But
Well,
we
this
did
is
name it
content.
so we can, not get
We're not gonna
canceled
save the name,
or
are we?
by
We're not gonna
Disney
get
or
canceled.
whatever.
No, we're not gonna say it.
We're gonna get Disney canceled.
Like someone
Disney
else.
blacklisted.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. The event was fine. Like it was 3 rounds. I guess the shocker of the day just goes to the judges announcing that no splits. Like that was I still remember just like turning, because Sailor and I have very close last names, and so I was like right across from him, and I just remember hearing that, turning to him, and we were both like, "What did they just say?" And then just all of us in our Discord like, "What did they just say?"
My actual first reaction, because I was upstairs, like Boomy's walking into the room, or like
Oh, Boomy top 32. What are we doing? That was the
yeah,
9th
no
person.
question.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So I was hanging out with Boomy because he was getting my wife her like date 2 pass or something like that, because she was his VIP, which is hilarious just to think about. But we were going up and collecting the badges, and we're just hearing rumblings like, "Oh yeah, there's no IDs allowed, none of this." I'm seeing people are just pissed in a corner, and like then everybody's going to Twitter, all this. So that was a weird thing to like notice that happening.
Yeah, it was a weird time. It just and like I made the comment earlier, but the judge to player ratio in that room was literally 1 judge for every like 8 players. Like there were so many judges, and so
Yeah,
even
there should be, though.
well, there should be, and like there's nothing wrong with that piece of it. But what it came down to though is if you don't if they say you're not allowed to split, and there's that many judges in the room, you're damn right there was no splitting. Right. But also on top of that, every time I went to time, if people didn't realize, and we talked a little bit about this. There was multiple times in that tournament where it would go to turns. The person on turn 5 would pass their turn and then talk about it and then try to concede. And the judges went, "No, the game's already happened. It's over." And so you had a lot of weird records where people were like 1-0 in a 2-game format because they couldn't finish game 2. Like I think it happened like at least 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, I guess like strictly by the rules, it makes sense, right? Like
it does.
Yeah.
Strictly by the rules, it makes sense. But it's
exactly. Yeah.
And
I guess
still weird.
Strictly by not the rules, splits still happened. So.
Yes. or tried to happen.
Yeah. Obviously, we're not going to say names or anything, but some have happened. Some tried to happen.
Some tried to happen and did not happen.
Some accidentally happened, right? So it's like
my favorite was hearing about somebody having to do like porn levels of acting like, with their opponent to just make sure that we're on the same page. We're both making progress in the tournament, so we both should take a draw here.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't want to say too much.
No names are going to be named, but porn level acting was definitely a sentence that was
my
entered
favorite line.
Oh no, I'm stuck with my inkless hand.
What do I do, stepbrother?
No, I can't.
It's so strange to me because coming from like a DLC level, we're all gaming the system, right? Like your whole plan is to get X points to make day 2, right? If you're taking that option away, it just seems so strange. Like you're not actually getting like the best players. You're getting like the person who just like was lucky enough to get that points or like that tiebreaker over Dylan. You know what I mean? Like it's such an interesting thing to me. But like, I mean, is that a melee issue? Is that like?
Well, one of the melee issues that we know and we proved it was melee doesn't pair you based on where you are in the standings in your breakers. Mm-hmm. It takes people of the same record and randomly assigns you. And so that's the other piece that frustrates the hell out of me is that we're using a software that doesn't do the breakers appropriately. And because of that, I ended up getting paired down because it just randomly assigns the people and then goes, oh, this person doesn't have like, so my breakers could have been fine. Like one of my losses was to Matthew in top 16. There was like, obviously I had to go on a little bit of a run to get to the end, but that's the unfortunate part is you have literally zero control over your breakers as opposed to other tournaments where you have basically zero control, but a little bit.
Well, I mean, they did announce their new software, right? So, like, maybe fingers crossed on that. But
yeah, we'll talk more about that later, too.
Yeah, I'm not...
In the news.
Dude.
So
I guess... Yeah, so day 1.
I guess before we move on to day 1, Ed, is there anything you'd like to talk about your day 1? Or is it... been squeezed out of you enough?
I mean, I expected more red blue, but I only faced one guy. But that was pretty sweet.
Crazy.
2-0'd him?
Yeah. But the other games were, I mean, they're quite a grinder. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it was kind of like luck, right? Like when I played against like Luke, he kind of just bricked, and I just played like my normal hand, and then I mean that's just what happens sometimes. So you do definitely have to get lucky. In big tournaments, especially against like the best of the best, right? You're not gonna just be able to edge up anybody.
No.
Yeah, your matchups are super important, right? And there's nothing you can do about that because it's just whatever comes your way.
I mean, you play the best you can with what you have, right? And
yep.
Well, that's why you play a consistent deck, though, right? Like that's the whole point, right? It's just trying to play a consistent deck throughout that day as well.
But it's not even just that. Like, I mean, again. It's been milked continuously, but you literally built the deck to beat red blue, and at those types of tournaments to get the edge to beat the players that are as good as you, if not better, you have to make calls like that. You can't beat everything, and so you have to hope that you pick the right meta, get the right matchups, and build your deck accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, also the system, right? Like you said. It heavily incentivizes people to try to get the 2-0s, right? Because it's worth that extra point. And if you just draw all day, you're definitely not going to make it. So I already accepted, like, if I run into Diggy, I'm just going to take the 0-2, and that's totally fine, right? You can still make it to day 2 getting 2-0'd, maybe even twice, if you are able to, like, win out the other rounds.
Because how many points is 3-2-2 compared to 0-0-7? 21 points so 21 points for 0-0-7. And if you 3-2-2, it's
at 21.
20 was just 7
with 3.
Yeah, 21 plus 27. 27. So you win the same amount of games, 7, 3, 6, 8. Sorry, you win one more game and you get 6 more points.
I was actually surprised how many 2-0s there were in day 1. Like, I don't know if that's like a weird thing to say, but like I'm surprised how many people, especially at the higher tables, I guess I'll say.
Well, the higher tables because they couldn't split.
Right, but I mean, I'm saying like there was still a good amount of 2-0s that I wasn't expecting, right? Like we're talking about people who are your deck you should almost always win on the play, right? I think like that's the idea that you're trying to do. And the whole thing is how do you get an edge on the draw? And so I'm surprised that there was as many 2-0s, and I don't know if it was too much of like counter picks, right? Like, I mean, red blue beating like wheel. Okay, cool, we get it. Like that could be a 2-0, but I was still surprised by the amount of 2-0s in general.
I think especially because there was quite a few 2-0s in the red blue mirror. But I don't know if the draw matters. I don't know if the draw matters that much in that matchup.
Yeah, I don't think it does. I think red blue mirrors is actually a lot of skill diff. I would say. Because I think Matt said it earlier in our chat where it's like there's elite, great, good, average, and they're like all within continentals. Like even though everybody made it in a different way, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's still, even though some people probably got really lucky getting to the like actual top tables, maybe started 3-0 or something, but eventually they like met the person that was actually better than them, right?
Yeah.
And then they got pushed down. So I think even though we're all made to the same tournament, I think there's still like pretty large
there's
skill
tiers,
discrepancies, especially for red blue mirrors. I think it's very, very apparent.
I mean, it's clear the people who got day 2 with red blue are the people we would probably expect to get day 2 with red blue.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Except for 72 cards.
Yeah.
Hopefully Hamza realizes that.
He was expected, dude. He was actually expected, I think.
Did he play 72 for day 1?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
yeah, he did.
I heard he was at
The
66.
deck list was
No, the deck list was wrong.
Yeah, they sent the wrong one.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. All right, that's interesting.
Eventually, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
But
so I guess like
go ahead.
day 2, it's just Ed. How'd that go?
Disney was sick.
Yeah.
Dude, Disney was great. And
We
you
went-
you really missed Disney. Like, I don't want to say
Oh,
you missed
man.
out, but like you kind of missed out.
Okay, hold on. Everyone's heard Ed's day 2 stories. Let's talk about Disney.
Yeah, we love Disney.
Yeah, we love Disney.
So
Unironically, though, we went to
you
Disney
went
like
at, so early, by the way.
Okay, so here's the problem. I was told to be at the hotel at 6:30 because we'd be able to get into Disney at 7. What I was not told was getting into Disney at 7 was getting into line to get into Disney at 7. So I stood in line to then stand in line to then stand in line to get into Disney at 7:30, which was still early, but not 6 a.m. early. So we went early. There was 4 of us that went, or sorry, 5 of us? Joseph, John, Braden, me, Justin, 5 of us. And I had a blast. And then we met up with you, Rick, later on and did a couple rides.
Yeah, because I had to enter at the normal people hours.
Yeah, at the pleb hours. And then I split off. I did Star Wars World on my own because that was a bucket list item for me. That was one of the reasons I actually went to Continentals, was because I could go to Star Wars World the next day. I even booked, before the tournament had even started, at like 2 weeks in advance, I booked a lightsaber building just because I was going. And I was like, that's a huge thing for me, so I did that.
Nice.
And then we'll probably talk about his run after this, but so then I finished building my lightsaber, get out of the room where you build it, and look at my phone, and Ed was in the finals, and so I sprinted from Star Wars in Disney all the way back to the hotel so I could watch the finals, and made it just in time. But anyway, Josh, Chris, what did you guys do for day 2?
I don't remember.
What? Sorry.
When did the finals start?
3:30.
I have a timestamp.
Yeah,
Hold
it
on,
was
I
like
got you.
it was.
No, I can tell you because I finished building my lightsaber at 3:30, and you were just about to start.
Oh, you're already done with the park? I guess, honestly, like, it's not that long to finish.
I
the
had
park,
been there.
especially,
I had been at the park for 8 hours,
Yeah, that's a long time, yeah.
and I
I
did.
should be
We did literally all the rides at California Adventure by 8:30. All of them, because there was. But when we got in at 7:30, we did Guardians, Incredicoaster, Web Shooters, and one other ride.
Toy Story.
Sorry.
Toy Story. It was the
Toy
one.
Story.
Yeah.
And then we just were about to get in line for the Cars race, the Speedster one, and that was 9 o'clock. That's like all the rides in California Adventure.
Yeah. You literally hit all the big ones, and if you were able to get out fast, then you're already done, basically.
Yeah, and so by then I went to Disney and I did Star Wars for a few hours. Like, I didn't do all of Disneyland because that's just
you
that
did the
park
hopper, right?
Yeah, I did the park hopper.
Oh, I see. Oh man, yeah, you hit it real fast then.
Oh yeah. Well, the other
That's for
piece of
sure.
it was because of the fires, B, because it was between 2 seasons, and it wasn't like super nice out. Disney was dead. So if
Wait,
you
really?
had,
On Sunday?
On
it
Sunday,
was so
empty.
dead on
Oh
Sunday.
man, when we went on Thursday, there was hella people.
Yeah,
Really?
so many people on Thursday.
Yeah, I was like,
No,
why is there so many
No.
people?
So they started becoming hella people right when I left to come to watch you in the finals at like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and by then I was exhausted.
Oh,
Like
that's fine.
like on Disney's side, I did Indiana Jones, I did Magic Mountain, I did all the rides in Star Wars. I got through the Rise of the Resistance ride in half an hour, and that ride's normally 2.5 hours just to wait.
30 minutes?
Yeah, it was nuts. Dude, the park on Sunday was sweet. Anyway.
It's probably the season pass people that just like show up in the afternoon.
Pretty much.
They're like, hey, like let's go to Disneyland.
I mean, the upside is like you avoid all the major heat, right? I think usually around noon it's like blazing. So I know a lot of like secret tip is like you go in the morning and then once it starts blazing, you go back to your hotel, take a nap, and then you come back afterwards.
Dude, at like noon, I was sitting in the Big Hero 6 area, just like slamming brewskis. Like I was just chilling. Like it was too hot to start running around.
But so here's the problem: is I was still in a hoodie.
Man.
It was still cold.
Wait, really? No.
Well, like not
it was a
cold.
little
I got to wear a sweater or a t-shirt at some point, but like I came from -30 and I was hoping for it to be actually like nice out, and I get here it was like +12.
Wait,
all weekend.
All right, I actually have a good point for that, dude. How did you like pack on the flight home? Like, cause like I packed not bringing a big jacket, and like I came home. And
I came home.
Freezing.
It was
so cold.
So thankfully my wife had the vehicle close enough to the terminal that I just hopped in, but I got off the plane and I was freezing. It was -30. Like it was so cold.
That's pretty cold, yeah.
Which is pretty close to what -30 actually is in freedom units for you guys that are trying to compare.
-30.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It's like 0 or like.
No, it's not 0. It's
No?
hold on, -30 in Fahrenheit.
We live in California.
No,
we never get
-30
anything
in
close to
Celsius is what you want to look up.
No,
The
because
lowest
it's
we had is
it was
like
-30
40
in
degrees.
Celsius, and so it's -22 Fahrenheit.
Oh.
Yeah, the coldest it gets here is 40.
Yeah, that's like super cold. Like you can't go outside.
No,
Yeah,
that's
I'm
like
gonna
igloo
die.
cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to realize he's in like the middle of nowhere.
I am literally in the
True.
middle of nowhere.
Must be nice.
It's quiet.
No, so
It's
I was
kind
gonna
of
say
nice.
because we asked so Chris and Josh, what were you guys doing on day 2? So Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Were you doing
Yeah,
side
what did you
events,
do
or-
on Sunday? I didn't even see you on Sunday.
No. I saw you at the very.
I saw you in
I
the finals. Yeah.
I won the side event thing, right?
Oh. Okay.
On Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, wait.
Or
Oh, were you doing revival, Chris?
No, he didn't
No,
get.
I didn't do revival. I
Okay.
woke up too late.
no, I saw you, Chris, at the. I saw you upstairs playing with the rest of them, right? Like,
oh yeah, we do. Oh, yeah,
a draft or
you doing
something?
Draft. Yeah. We're doing.
yeah,
draft.
that's the only time I saw you all day.
Yeah.
But like,
So-
I was on Saturday and Sunday. I was just playing the competitive side event.
Yes.
Did you win anything?
Yeah, I won both, or split, I guess.
Nice,
Wait,
nice.
actually?
How did they run the competitive side?
Oh,
events?
dude, you're
Is it just, like,
insane.
3 rounds, or is it like the
So
full-
it was like such a bad format. It was, weird format. It was 5 rounds, 2-game format, and there was
Really?
like on Saturday there was like
What?
400 people.
5 rounds
So
to
you-
game
you-
format.
5 rounds?
Yeah,
Really?
you
That's
literally.
like a local. If you 2-0, you just split into top whatever.
Yeah, if you lose 1, you're on the bubble already.
Oh,
Lose
dude,
1. Oh my god.
I started with a 2-0, and then I didn't want to play anymore because I just hated Lorcana at that point. So I had my buddy take over for me, and he just some like Asian guy pretended to be Rick Del Giorno in the melee. And I thought that was the funniest thing because he was like, "Oh, hi, I'm Rick," but like looked nothing like a Rick.
Giorno.
It was hilarious.
Rick Del Giorno.
Yeah, Jeffrey's a cool dude. He did great. He went 0-4, or yeah, he like lost every game after that.
That's so funny.
And then Chris, did you play side events and then just watch?
No, I didn't play any side events on Sunday. I was
Those-
also in the same boat. I did not want to play any Lorcana.
Dude, I didn't play much that weekend. Like truly, I played so much leading up to the Continentals weekend.
Yeah.
And I just didn't like. I was just done. I was like,
We
I
were
don't
playing
really
a
wanna
ton.
play. Yeah.
Yeah, similarly.
They didn't
we
really
just
give
played
us
so
any
much.
good incentive to play. I think.
There's
That's
so-
what
Yeah.
No, especially the okay. I don't want to trash this too much, but can we talk about the revival side event because that prizing literally made me go play Disney.
Yeah, not.
I
great
wouldn't have done
prizing.
revival if I had the option. So
Yeah,
It
so-
was
I
rough.
So the best thing I liked about its concept was I think it should be applied to like normal side events with tickets. Like I like the tier system for getting tickets,
I agree,
not for
and I liked
a
the premise
Kristoff
of it.
or Jetsam Flotsam promo. Not
I like
Yes.
it based
so-
off standing instead of like your record, like overall record.
Mhm.
but I don't know why they did it off records.
Yeah, like for example, the competitive side event that was 5 rounds, 2-game format. That one definitely should have been by record, because like I said, 1 loss and you're kind of out.
Yeah.
And 1 tie, you're like bubbled. So
they had a good system before. I don't know why they don't use it, right? Like the DLC competitive side events.
Yeah, like the day 2 side events where you don't make it. I thought was really good.
You just go by standing, you get some tickets.
Actually, though, the Friday side event, like the Friday competitives constructed, is probably one of the best tools you could use. Like in general, like it was great warm up. It was a good event. It was great prizing, and like just top to bottom, like you guys are saying, like the competitive side events at the DLCs is almost better prizing than doing the DLC.
It's kind of weird, right?
yeah, because like the competitive side event prizing was just top 16.
I mean, I had a buddy in Toronto. He didn't do the main event. He just played in the competitive side event and got top 4.
And probably paid for his trip.
Yeah, EV'd easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
So you could do that, I guess, Ed. Now that you know, you don't need to play DLCs anymore, right?
Just show up at Spike side events.
The side events. No, I've gone like first and second at the side events before.
Well, you did really well at the Toronto.
Really good EV, yeah.
You did really good at the Toronto side event, didn't you? You played Green Steel there.
Yeah, I got second there.
Yeah.
I think I got first in the Vegas Friday. So got a bunch of.
I never had
leaked
the
the
Wait, you got
sauce.
first in the Vegas Friday? Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he leaked the sauce.
Yeah. The sauce.
Well, lesson learned.
Resentful of
Don't
that.
leak the sauce. Yeah, that's what I realized.
Chris would have won if he didn't leak the
Chris,
sauce.
That's what I'm saying.
You didn't tell him to
Hold it
play
over
Morph
him.
and Tank, dude. I swear.
Yeah.
You were one win away from Worlds, man. Unlucky, am I right?
Yo.
Truly unlucky.
Low-key, without showing up to a single DLC, Ray is shaping the Green Steel meta.
Well, he was at Toronto.
No, he was at Toronto.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he was at Toronto. Okay, never mind.
But that was a fun
Was Ray
weekend
even
too.
playing Morph Tink at the time?
In Toronto?
No.
No, for Vegas. Like during that time period.
Well,
I
what
think he
list
was
did he
still
play in the
playing Morph.
in-house? I thought he was
No, he was on Morph for sure. Definitely on Morph. Morph Tink, maybe not.
maybe not Morph
but-
Tank.
No,
But
Morph was insanely strong though. I know a lot of people were actually on SME. That's why.
Yeah, like Smee
Like
was
I
Smash.
want to say Ray was on SME, but
He
I
wasn't
want
on
to say he
Smee.
cut Smee because he thought that Beast on 3 was too strong.
Yeah, he was
That
he was for
his
sure
main reason playing.
he was for sure kicking my ass with Shift Beast on 3.
But,
So did you? So I guess just very quick tangent. Did you guys think that the big thing for that Green Steel deck was the Morph Tank, or was it the Annas?
both. It's like a combination, right?
Yeah, it was definitely a
And I
combination.
think the Morph also let you have more like just insane high rolls, where
Yeah.
it's like against like some of those like aggro decks, you actually just have a way to completely blow them out. Like when Zan played against Dennis, right? He was playing green purple,
Right.
and he's like, oh, do I kill the Morph or do I kill the Ursula, right? And then he picked wrong, and he just got completely blown up, right?
And he just did.
So, I don't think like the current iterations of Green Steel has that kind of capability anymore, which is kind of unfortunate. But I mean, you it's a trade off, right? You're lower to the ground, less susceptible to the removal, because now you play like the Calhoun and the Smee. But I mean, before when it was not as susceptible, man, those like Morph Tink blowouts were like just too many free wins, like too many 2-0s just from that play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the
Sure.
low key. It's one of the reasons why I want to play Tink this weekend. I just want
Tink
to.
is broken. Tink is like so good right now. In
I want to play turn 3 Tink into turn 4 Shift, kill your stuff. Especially because I don't.
Yeah.
The store that I'm going to, I don't think there's very much red blue at all.
Yeah.
And so I just want to go Tink people. It seems like fun.
Yeah, that's a play.
Because that's what you played. That's what you played this weekend, right, Chris? You played.
Yeah, I played Shift Tink, Purple Steel
with the 1-3.
with the 1-3.
Yeah, you
I
have
didn't
to.
play the 1-3 once. I like actually.
Wait, you
inked it
didn't?
So often. No, dude, I never shifted Tink.
Dude,
I
I
just
would.
played Tink
I'd
on
probably
6.
ink it every time.
Wait,
that'd be my
okay, hold
problem.
on. The whole reason I want to play the deck is, and the whole reason I got excited is because I thought you just shift tinked the crap out of people, and you
No,
didn't
no, no,
shift
no.
once.
No, because like you just stabilize with like Calhoun, Crab, or Pete into like a Rabbit. Rabbit Sing Zeus, play like a 2+3 or Elsa, and then you just play Tink on 6, and then
Yeah.
they can't like do anything.
Tink's
No,
like the
I
OG.
can't do
Tink,
anything.
Tink's the OG shark.
Dude,
Oh,
I
sure.
actually agree with you on that though, because like I think shifting itself is just there's not really a real reason to do it right now.
Then why are we
Unless
playing
they
the
have, like,
1-3?
double Merfolk. If they like
Wait,
double
wait,
Merfolk
right.
on
I
the
think there
board,
is a
then, yeah, you're
reason.
shifting it.
Is
Yeah.
there?
No, there's sometimes where it's so
Yeah,
crazy,
you, like,
right? When
have
they
to
like
do it,
quest with
right?
their Daisy or whatever, and then you
And then you
blow
just
them
get
up.
them.
Yeah,
Sure.
you just get them.
Sure, but
Yeah.
it's against those decks that like, even if you just built a board, you'd probably still beat them, right? I think
But
like,
you really locked them out.
I had-
You have to really lock out those daisies.
I had an opponent that thought they were trying to get me, and they quested with their Diablo but didn't quest with their Ursula because they were trying to play around the shift tink. But I don't think they realized that you can attack the Diablo with the 1/3 tink and then shift the tink on top and still kill the Diablo.
damn.
Gamer.
Got him.
That's a secret sauce right there.
Take notes, everybody.
I mean, I had somebody not quest their Diablo into my Shark this past weekend, so because they were so afraid, but they quested with another character.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Was there a brawl in your graveyard too?
I had one in my hand and in the grave.
So
So that guy was not getting out of that situation, but
No.
I appreciated it. Thank you for the free win.
oof.
I guess moving on. Is there any last Continentals top up? Or
Ed kicked ass. Good job, Ed.
yeah, good job, Ed.
Was there anything that surprised you on day 2, or like anything that you thought was like challenging for you? Like what was your hardest moment of day 2? I guess.
Probably round 1 in Zen's
Zen.
that game.
Oh, okay. Who'd you play round?
I mean, honestly, he
played a game. Wait, who did you play
kind
against?
of
Round one?
unfortunately.
R&B.
Round was R&B.
R&B.
Oh,
right.
R&B.
Oh,
I think he
which-
just
right,
made a
yeah,
couple
you beat-
misplays and it kind of.
You beat
Yeah.
blue purple and you beat green steel.
Oh wait, I actually have to run right now. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, bye. He's gotta
There's
go
another
coach.
interview.
He's gotta go
I-
coach.
I think like, well, talking about that though, right? I mean, blue purple. Like our whole testing was that you're playing blue purple to beat red purple, right?
Right.
Like,
Yes.
so I can see why that's a tough matchup. And I know we talked about like even R&B mentioned his own misplays, but yeah, I mean that's still a tough matchup. And then to go into green steel, but like we all agree that like red purple's not that bad into green steel now, right?
It's not
No,
awful.
but so
with
here's-
Genie though.
But that's just it. Is Ed's list had no Elsas
Elsas,
and no
yeah.
Genies,
Yeah.
and Genie was the thing that swung the green steel matchup.
Right.
And I actually think, so I do agree that blue purple is good against red purple, but Ed's version had 4 Tremaine 2 Sisus, which I think is huge against blue purple
Huge.
because you have
Yeah.
the
Tremaine
shift
is
Sisu.
massive.
Well, it's the shift Sisu that's the big thing because we talked about that was why we were cutting Genies out of red purple. Like I trimmed down. I was playing 4 rabbit 3 Genie, and I didn't have the balls to cut them all. But the reason we were cutting down on Genie was because of shift Sisu, and Ed was playing shift Sisu in red purple, so it's just better against blue purple.
Well,
Yeah.
here's another thing to consider too. The 3/4 body or 4/4 body of like a Medusa is so hard for blue purple to deal with. Like you have to sack a fox or you have to crab something, and you're always minusing your board. Like it's and just like you have to answer it right because they already like have Flynn on board or whatever. So you have to like kind of answer a lot in red purple, like on the draw at least as blue purple. So.
Yeah.
I mean, once they start throwing bodies down that all have 2 lore pips, like you just have to like kind of fight as much as you can. And then once you use all your resources, then they can throw genies down. But obviously, like you were saying, Ed doesn't have genies, so
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
guess
I dabbled a bit in the blue purple deck, like when we saw the matchups were gonna be Ryan versus Ed. So I think Ed was playing someone else who was playing Blurple, and then I was playing Blurple against someone else who was playing Ed's list at our house. Like we were trying to crack the matchup. Or
I was just
see
gonna
where the
say
holes
you
are.
had 4 of you playing the matchup.
Yeah, about maybe like 6, because like we had
Oh,
like
wow.
one person on like over each of the games, like trying to
Oh.
talk about the hands and stuff. It's kind of like a collaborative effort when we're
That's
trying
sick.
to figure
Yeah,
out our
yeah,
that's
our day
so cool.
twos.
In our
Yeah.
in ours when we were testing for Sean, so I played purple steel against him playing red blue. We had Sean and someone else playing red blue against me on purple steel, and so we had 3 of us watching, but we were trying
Sounds
to figure it
about
out. We came very quickly to the conclusion that Sean basically needed to find ice block every game.
Ice block is massive in
Yeah.
that matchup. Like
It's huge because everything is
I
3
keep it
strength.
in my mulligan now against.
You have
steel.
to.
Yeah.
You have to, yeah. Smee is just too hard to kill.
Or even just like a free Calhoun kill, man. Like just
Oh,
swinging
right, yeah.
Tala into Calhoun is like actually kind of insane.
Yeah. Well, being able to swing Tala into anything and
Into swing-
living
Yeah.
was big.
Yeah. I guess like one thing about like collaborative efforts for helping people like win. I think that's like one of the underappreciated things in
Yeah.
Lorcana or like in card games. I guess like it really takes a village.
in general, right? Like it's also not something that I guess everyone knows how to properly do.
Right.
No.
A lot of people
No, not at all.
think it's like similar to coaching. A lot of people think just telling you the right move is like, oh, I did it. I helped, kind of thing.
But you have to like
There's much more. Yeah.
You have to like cement it. You can't just say this is the right play. You have to discuss it, and it's almost better to make the mistake, understand why, like having someone tell you the correct move, do the wrong move anyway, and go, oh, if I did the right move, this is what wouldn't have happened. That almost sticks in your brain more than just doing the right move because someone told you.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
So Dave told me this piece of advice once about like what his TCG superpower was, and I think I found mine out after this event, and it's really just being that collaborator. I think I'm like really good at being like the team support engine, and then also like that person to like suggest like, well, hey, what if you try this line? What if you try this card? And like I think that's like where my like power is like kind of pushing other people forward more. And I think like I found that with like helping out with like Joseph, or like even helping out with like you, Dylan, and like just testing little things, and like, you know, just what helps a person do better at one of these events, because you are playing the event, you're not really playing the person most of the time. But once you get to those day 2 points, that's where it's like changes. Well, like how does Sean beat Bivens, right? Like, how do we figure that matchup out? This is such a cool thing.
Yeah. Well, I think the other piece of it, though, is like having that village. Like, again, I'm sure at Chris's house, it's like, hey, who's going to play blue-purple against Ed? It's like, okay, well, you've played red-purple, or you play blue-purple, or whatever. It's the same thing. Like, when we got back to the hotel, it was, okay, Sean is playing against Bivens' list. Okay, well, I'm probably the one who's played decks the closest to it. It's got rabbits and purple 1-drops in it. Let's go. It took me one game, and I'm like, hey, I'm not going to say I played it nearly as good as Zach, because obviously Zach beat Sean and played it extremely well, and Zach is just incredible. But you very quickly realize, okay, this is the line it takes. And then getting the validation from JDRR the next morning of like, yep, if only you guys would have asked. Okay, well, it was 11 o'clock at night, and you were probably asleep. So... But thanks for validating it, because we figured it out. But,
dude, I think like Ed's very lucky to have like the testing group he does like locally. I think that's such a cool thing too.
Well, that's just it. Is he has it locally, and he has it with our Discord, right? Like it's you get that 2-edged sword, which is extremely helpul.
Good job,
Chris. We have like such a breadth of like people who played different decks in our group.
Your guys' testing group is very good.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, how many of you were in Continentals?
6.
Yeah, like that's insane.
Out of how many? Like 10? How many do you guys? 8?
Ish, yeah. 8? 9?
Let's just say 10. Make you guys see him. That's good. So. I don't know. Just knock you down a peg.
Like 8. Yeah.
But like even like the
awesome
Canada,
jackets.
like the Ontario like group is like kind of insane too. It's very cool, like the different sections of where people are. Like Florida has a huge hub. Ontario has a huge hub.
Well, Josh, how many people, if you went to a store right now, how many in our Discord could you play against if you wanted to? 4 or 5?
In the Discord?
Yeah.
Probably 4 or 5, yeah. Actually, probably more, but yeah.
I mean, because, are we talking, like, because John doesn't go to locals anymore,
yeah, I was going to say,
like...
some actually don't leave their house sometimes.
Well, I said could play at a store.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Quite a few, actually, but yeah.
Yeah. And then we have, like, of course, it's not even the locals, it's even our in-houses. Like, our in-houses are so helpful.
Dude, even having, like, the EU perspectives, was that touched on? Like,
no, we haven't touched on that yet.
A little bit, but, like, not too much.
So we have a few people from the EU Continentals and that group of people, and just having their vision, because if we look at the EU Continentals versus NA Continentals, what a different, like, lineup of decks. And, like, I mean, first off, just green-purple being a deck, right? Like,
yeah.
And then Artifacts pretty much coming into the Discord being like, you know, good thing nobody was playing Sharks. Yeah, and then like saying how green purple don't bring green purple.
Yeah, because that's green purple. Like if EU Continentals and NA Continentals were the same weekend, I was playing green purple as well.
Oh yeah, like you were locked in on green purple.
I was so heavy in green purple. Like I was playing it in the in-houses, I was locked in it, and then Wep and Artifacts did really well, and LD, and I was like, this is sick. And then Shark.
And
Shark literally wrecked it. Yeah, and then playing...
consequence of time, like time between tournaments, or do you think that there's actually like a different meta?
It was quite a
it was both.
amount of time though, right? Like it was
But it was both, because so there was the consequence of time of people started like refining the red-blue decks better, which fixed the green-purple matchup way more than any other matchup. Because at the beginning of the meta, like, Sailor aside, I was thrashing red blue. Well, I was doing pretty good against red purple too, but like the red blue matchup was why I wanted to take green purple. And then every list was on Sharks and APL. Every list. And that swung that matchup the most. By far.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I was like so in green purple, and then Artifacts is like, this deck sucks, and I'm like, no, it doesn't. And then part of it was like the Diggy Hole matchup also was horrendous.
Yeah.
Because we were finally figuring out the Amber Steel matchup to the point where it was like, part of why I didn't want to play green purple was because the matchup was so bad. But I was getting the matchup to like 45-55 or 50-50 because I was hard mulling for Ursula Bounce. Like I didn't even care about a 1-drop, and winning games because of it.
Was Diggy a thing for EU? I don't remember when Decandia won, right? No, it wasn't.
Well, no. So like Decandia was playing a list-ish for, like, and I say ish
ICL.
For ICL.
Yeah.
And then, or sorry, not ICL.
No, sorry, and or ICCL, right?
ICCC.
Yeah.
But then he took it to a Star City and won.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the deck exploded. And that matchup for green purple is awful.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think that's why he made it, is because a lot of those lists were everywhere.
Well, green purple and red purple, like
Right.
especially like our early
G
versions of
decks in
red purple, that deck just wrecked us.
Yeah.
But
and early on, that's why we were playing blue purple, is because we won the Genie War, and then
Yeah.
we realized the lack of necessity to win the Genie War.
well, and then Steel Song started migrating more and more to Diggy, which helped Blurple even more.
Mm-hmm.
Because it removed an auto loss matchup and turned it into closer to 50-50 or favor.
Yeah, could we talk about that actually? It's crazy that Wheel is kind of not dead, but like not
I think it's
everywhere.
coming back.
It's definitely coming back because it's beating a lot of these decks now. It's beating red blues. It's beating because when I say beating red blues, I mean the people who are playing Wheel were already beating red blue, because like the Boomies are bringing Wheel because he knows when to play Wheel, right? If you know when to play Wheel, you're probably still on it.
Well, Wheel's also better against red blue now that they're not playing Quill.
Right, and you could just punish it, and then beats green blue, beats blue purple, like all these decks that like don't have Quill or can't punish extra.
I still think low key that one of the best versions of Wheel that you can be playing in this meta right now, especially with so much red blue, is the Queen version. Because how many times, like especially on the play, like you just shit on red blue. You go turn 1 Queen, turn 2 Shift Wheel. It's like, oh, I can't turn 2 Ramp because I kept it, and now I need to draw a different one.
Yeah. Also, just dodging like Pete against the mirrors.
I think if your opponent was like a keep like 6 and like you're not shifting Queen 2, like you could punish them so hard. Like imagine you just wheel them into all preps and they just lose the game on the spot. Like that's happened to me so many times.
But that's the other piece that makes red blue so much better now, is that the unink count isn't 20 anymore. It's 12 or 14.
Yeah. It's like 14 was like the highest for like
yeah.
I say highest, but there was higher for Continentals, but like it was
the
like
highest
the
of the builds that were doing well.
Yeah. Much more manageable now.
Dude, crazy that we're not playing 20 on inks right now. Like
I do not miss that shit.
Right?
I will never do that again.
That was so
I played
stressful.
I played one tournament with red blue with 20 uninkables. I will never play that many again. I don't care how good a deck is.
Yeah. I had a hard loss in Toronto because I just full like all uninkables draw for like 4 turns in a row. But you're just gonna take that gamble, right? If a third of your deck is uninkables.
Yeah.
I guess what's next? Moving on, I guess.
Is it news time?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Sure, news time. I mean,
news?
I guess we can start with the lack of news on Worlds. How's everybody feel?
Oh, dude. I
Chris,
feel like
are you going
right
for
now
Worlds?
we're all planning our lives around freaking Worlds
And
date.
and not it's not even just Worlds. It's any events.
Dude, that's
after
goodness.
That's the real sad
Yeah,
part, is
after
that
Melbourne,
because we haven't heard about Worlds, we haven't heard about any of the other events except for like these weird
right?
there's these weird previous meta tournaments that are going to be happening in like Japan.
Dude, Japan set 3 meta. I'm so hyped for that. I love
Are
set
you
3.
going?
We're thinking about it.
Do you think
We are. Damn.
We are, we are.
do you think that the meta could actually be different because of what we've learned?
Oh no, totally.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes.
I feel like the game has
I think
changed
it's gonna
a
look
lot.
completely different.
Yeah. No, like people play styles, everything, like the way that they think about the game, the way that they build decks.
Yeah, I guess
Totally
before
changed.
we go too far into it, so like they've announced that like set 1 just came out in Japan.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've also announced that there's going to be 2 like I guess DLC equivalents. Ooh,
I love
Mother
that.
knows
Sorry,
best.
sorry. I love. For those of you that are listening, Fumbles just showed one of the Japanese cards on it. I actually love that the songs have the actual name of the song below it, and then everything else is in Japanese.
English. Oh wow, it's in English and then
Yeah.
Japanese name.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's cool. Anyway, sorry.
It is
Yes.
Which were announced that they are technically playable, based off of Ravensburger's
Yes, that was also announced as well.
Yeah. So if you need cards, buy
yeah.
Japanese
So
cards.
so China, right? China and Japan were the two that got their cards fairly recently, and so first off, I guess their cards were announced to be legal, or I guess technically up to the TO, today, whenever this is releasing. So what day is today?
January 29th.
The 29th, okay, is when they said that. So I'm sure people will be scrambling to grab some foreign cards because people love their foreign cards. And then in terms of Japan, they announced that there's going to be 2 DLC-like events. They called it something else, but I think it was like somewhat confirmed that this is their versions of DLCs.
It's called like a Grand Prix, right?
Yeah, Grand Prix.
Is that what they're calling it?
And they gave their dates. I can find them in just a second, but it was like end of May.
Yeah, May 31st for Japan.
Yeah, May 31st is the first one, and the second one is July 26th. And we don't have any other details on it aside from it's pretty much like their challenge, and you do get like the Cindy's and the Rapunzels in Japanese as well,
which look really good.
Which Chris, if you go, listen, I might buy one.
They'll let it go?
Don't worry.
No, I don't have that kind of. I don't have let it go money. What
No, sorry, but what did you say though? What
Oh,
did
the
you say you're buying?
Rapunzels.
Oh,
and
the Rapunzels.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Gotcha.
Oh yeah,
You
that's
know
what we
what's
were
crazy,
talking
though?
about.
They're not gonna have Bucky meta.
Yeah,
So-
No,
I mean,
they're
it's
not.
It's gonna be set 3
It's oh my
estimated,
god,
most likely.
because like, do you guys remember testing that? Like, I don't think we were all testing together at that point, but like,
No, I remember. So was
Testing.
Toronto set 3 or set 4?
Toronto was set 4.
no Bucky.
Okay.
So
and
I
then
guess to clarify,
what was the one event that was no Bucky?
Toronto.
Toronto? It was Toronto.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And that was set 4.
Yeah.
So anyway, what were we gonna clarify?
So to clarify, they also announced their set champs is at mid-May to early July. So that's why we are saying it lines up with set 3
Right.
Yeah.
for the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And then like Rick was saying, they're not going to have a Bucky meta.
Yeah, because it's already
which
eroded.
is very interesting, right? Like that's already one big difference. Aside from what Chris was saying, having past knowledge of metas warps everything, right? Like it
Like, Bucky was
speeds
still a deck
up everything.
in
Yeah.
set 3. People don't realize that. Like that was still climbing the Pixelborn ladders. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that, but
I mean, Pixelborn's already gone. It's fine.
Yeah, it's already
the Pixelborn Connect
NBA.
ladder.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, that one.
Yeah, no, Bucky was still a decent deck.
Because Bucky was good in set. I remember playing against a Green Steel Bucky deck in set 3 before Diablo came out. That was in the finals of one of my set champs actually.
Well, we saw in set 4 that Green Yellow was able to live because Bucky was gone.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I
like
play that for Toronto.
Yeah, and I mean that was a huge deck that came out of nowhere, really. So I think like it depends, I guess, because discard doesn't really exist in EU. Will it exist in the East? I guess like that's the question.
That's going to be the other crazy part is how much of them, because even in other TCGs like Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon or whatever, the Eastern meta is so much different than the Western meta.
Yeah.
Is how much of the Lorcana Eastern meta is going to be different.
Dude, I saw a deck with It's Not Baroque, the card that brings back an item.
I don't even know what that card does.
It's a 2 or 3 cost action.
3 cost uninkable
Action that brings back an item from the discard. Dude, you're not ready for it.
Apparently,
but you need to be.
I mean, I low key.
They're playing with set 1 meta though. Like that's like
yeah.
That's a meta that I will never touch other than like Chaos Sealed.
Did you see what Wonder?
One?
I'm sorry, what?
Did everybody here play set 1? I'm just curious.
No.
Yes.
Like define play set 1.
I struggle to get cards and then sleeve them up and then go to.
I was playing yellow purple Mickey Mouse Sorcerer set 1.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was playing
like
with Stitch Rock Stars and a bunch of 1-drops and Mickey Mouse Sorcerer and just random ass shit. It was great.
I enjoyed my red purple mirrors.
I played my first deck I built was Green Steel. It was with Cusco's and big Tinkerbells, and I was just playing big Floodborn characters pretty much after that. Like I had a blast with that. And then I basically then built the Amber Steel list when I could finally afford Rapunzel's. So
yeah, Rapunzel was like that's why I didn't go into Steel Song, is because I saw the price of Rapunzel. And back then, is it like even now, right? Maleficent Dragon is like still cheaper than Rapunzel.
Oh,
Yep.
So like that's why I went to Red Purple. Yeah.
Well, okay, maybe not by a lot anymore, but it's still cheaper
dude,
than
I
Rapunzel.
want a Japanese dragon so bad. Dude,
Sailors
got
look
me
so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I guess the other thing also, like I guess early predictions for this Grand Prix, which is going to be set 3, so it was like the set before Bucky, was popular. But it was also, I think, the last meta that people really enjoyed, they said, because it was open. What do you think is gonna be on top?
Red Purple Minnie Mouse.
Sure.
Red Purple Minnie Mouse.
Man, picking Red Purple's a cheating answer. You guys are cheaters.
RP was insane in set 3. It was so good. Like it was so skill intensive. Like
Medusa was set 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I felt unbeatable locally on Red Purple. Like it was incredible.
But wasn't that when Green Steel preyed on it?
No, it was set 4.
Tiny bit.
I was gonna say
no, in
I'm
set
gonna
3
say
as
something
well.
crazy here.
Green Steel was the best deck,
man.
I think.
Oh, Green Steel, if they opened like Merfolk, Flynn, Ursula 3 unanswered on the play, you can't win.
But the problem that we were figuring out the Green Steel matchup partway through set 3, and so they get the advantage in the East if they're paying attention. Because most people were playing Red Purple into Green Steel like you would play Red Purple into any other deck. But what you had to do was just ink pass. And especially because they don't have Bucky, that's even better. Like you just ink pass.
Yeah,
and then you just get to B prep and then you just win.
They amassed, like they had back then. They were very aggressive, right? Merfolks, Flynn's,
Daisy Duck,
Daisy, John's,
and
you didn't have Brawl back then.
All right, so I have
Brawl's a set 4 card.
Oh yeah,
I have some of the names, by the way.
You had to rely on Pinocchio.
So if I'm looking at Atlanta right now, just for reference, but
yeah,
sure.
Jonathan Williams, Zach Bivens, the Dave, I forgot what he played. CJ Pena, who ended my day. He was playing Blue Steel. Wochuck was on Amber Steel. Kendall, Red Purple. Luke, I think, was playing Amber Steel at the time. RMB was on Blue Steel. Bobby was on Amber Steel. Like, Justin was in there too.
Yeah.
He's SLT 10, or is that Sarek?
No, that's Sarek.
That's Sarek.
Okay, Sarek was playing, I believe.
It was probably Amber Steel.
It was Amber Steel.
Because Steel Song was a very good pick.
Steel Song set 3 was very good.
That's why. Kevin Goons was on there too. But I think he was playing Red Purple, right?
Yeah, he was playing RP.
Probably.
But like, there's a few Blue Steels in there, and I think like I remember Blue Steel being like the deck. Like Blue Steel was what I got GM on Pixelborn with. Like I was farming.
It was like Blue Steel was like probably the main deck that Green Steel didn't want to see.
Yeah.
And leading up to Atlanta, Green Steel was like Green Steel and Green Purple were the 2 decks I think that were like really ramping up in popularity.
Yeah, I think people were building to beat that because of how popular it was on PP.
Yeah. And Red Blue was like fairly fresh still.
Yeah, and I mean the people playing Red Blue are the people still playing Red Blue.
Yeah.
I just remember watching Zepha's video for the first time when Red Blue, and it was like Popsicle, and I just remember going to order Popsicles and Hirams, and then the next day they were all gone. And Hiram, which was a rare in one of the starter decks, was like $10 to $15.
Oh my god.
Like,
dude, good card.
The Flaversham buyout was actually real.
It was crazy. Sure. It was overnight. It was nuts.
I just remember like a transition into like set 4 from set 3, and there was just like all the purple card, like the bounce cards buyouts.
Yeah.
I was like trying to pick up like I was trying to play Green Purple in set 4 at the start, and then like I tried to buy all my foil like Madam Mims and stuff, and I was like, what? Why is it like?
Damn. Have you looked at Fox lately, brother?
Wait,
yeah,
what?
I can pull it up right now here. On
Brother,
in the video
Fox
here.
playset right now.
No, wait, hold on.
Dude, it's $40 for a foil Fox.
Nuts.
Okay, so hold on. Did that goat foil buyout last?
No, it was all of them.
It's still 30, but
that's
it's not,
still a lot.
It's still a lot. Yeah.
Dude, that's a common, isn't it? Isn't goat a common?
No, it's an uncommon.
Uncommon? All right. Still.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
But yeah,
boxes are
I look forward to seeing the Japanese meta because like I don't know, might be biased from Yu-Gi-Oh, but like they always make the weirdest shit and the best shit.
No, they have, like, the best decks.
Yeah, because like I'm calling it now. They're gonna do some crazy shit with Grand Pabby. I know it. It's gonna be something dumb.
Not Grand.
Could you imagine? watch them find some crazy deck. That's like, wait, if we just play that in set 6 with these cards, would it be good? And it just ends up being nuts.
Man. They always do.
It would be crazy.
When did Airfoil come out? I think it was around that.
I think it was set 3.
Yeah,
because I thought about playing it in Green Steel.
Luke had a very, very good Airfoil deck that he was actually like playing a ton of, and it's like you play the Ward Pete with actions.
Yep.
And you pretty much just played actions the entire time, and then just quested because you were always able to remove your opponent's board, and like. That's definitely a deck that's viable, especially like no Bucky. Like you have to put the time into it, and I guess like there's gonna be people grinding it, right?
I want to see how played a Pirate's Life is, knowing what we know now in set 4 or set 5 meta.
I don't.
So okay.
I know Shark makes it a lot better, but I think the card was underplayed.
Sure. But so there's two things you could look at for that, right? You have two great singers in Medusa and Tremaine, so that's a huge possibility that it's played. I think what's so big though, and especially if we're looking, because you wouldn't probably play it in red blue, maybe you would, but like red blue is pretty tight in terms of like space, but so is red purple. Like how many can you run? 2, 3? If you're running 4, that's tough, right? But what Shark makes is better is the recursion of it. Like that's I think why it's playable.
No, I don't disagree. Right? It's way better, and there's always going to be just random cards that when a new card comes out, then this card just becomes so much better.
Burn decks, right? Like that. You're like I played today against a red purple deck that had 4 Pirates Lives, and then just like you don't expect it to like end the game, but if they sing it and then hard cast it, that's 4 lore from hand. That like it's tough to figure that out.
Yeah.
And then not to mention obviously the -4, but lore drain is something that's never been too powerful in this game until this meta.
Yeah.
Until set 6 meta, I should say.
And now set 6 meta, it's like
arguably set 5 when there were like GP mirrors.
Oh right, because Lyle was probably the peak of lore drain, right? Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
even in set 3, Lyle was like kind of scary.
Dude, Diego has like 1,000 foil Lyles ready to go.
That's me with Mother Knows Best. I'm waiting for that day.
I'm a big MKB believer. So.
I have this one random foil goat in my binder that I just had in there just because I was putting foils, and now I have to figure out what I'm going to do with it. I'm probably going to sell it.
But you're a purple player.
You want to say something funny?
I could get it sent.
I swear to God, if you show me a binder full of foil goats, I'm going to cry.
No. Like that'd be
Wait, what's the card that you have, Josh? You have like a binder full of cards. Oh, baby, those look so good.
Look what they're signed by.
The goat himself.
The goat himself.
Yeah,
I have my friends on the other side signed by the artist.
Yeah.
I thought were really nice.
I have a fish hook signed by Dave. A foil fish hook signed by
Dave as well.
Yeah, I guess if you do go, Chris, good luck, and maybe I'll see you there. But I doubt it. But
I'm like really looking forward to it. I hope
like I feel like I wouldn't even be able to like concentrate on the event. I just want to go do other shit.
And then it says 2 fumbles at the bottom. And
damn.
Cool. Actually, that looks sick.
Dude, her signature is so nice, Amber.
Really good.
Hey, it's not gonna like load or like clear, but
no, it looks good.
The fumbles at the bottom I liked a lot too.
So Chris, if you go to the Japanese DLC, why don't you just play the yellow purple deck that won Atlanta, right? Doesn't that make sense? If it got first back in the day, it must get first again, right?
By the way, I have like a really crazy insight on that deck too, because so during Stitch Set Champs, the only person who beat me was Chris Oyola. Out of like all my events, he has the 2 wins against me that were my only 2 losses at those Stitch events. And he was playing. Thank you. He was playing yellow purple with Lilo's Maleficent Biding Her Time, and Perdita wasn't that set, right? I'm trying to remember, but like he was playing that exact list. Oh yeah, no, Perdita must have been that set.
No, Perdita was right?
Yeah, so he was playing that exact list that the guy from Atlanta who won Atlanta was playing, and he bubbled out at 46th, I guess, or whatever, because it was top 44, right? Or what was it? He was whatever the bubble was. Like he was the first person.
Did they not do top 64 in Atlanta?
No, 64. So he was 65. That's what it was.
Okay.
Oh.
So it was like 44.
And what's crazy is he was on the same list too. And so I thought that was like crazy because I was like, oh damn, the only difference he had was that he wasn't playing Fairy Godmother, which was the big thing.
That's the difference.
Right, that was the difference is what we saw. And so I don't think you could play that deck and get away with it now.
I don't think you could play that deck and get away with it, period.
Ever.
I still don't know how that won a DLC, but whatever.
Nah, don't listen to the haters.
Dude,
It's just
actually,
super unexpected. Like,
It was impressive.
Shift Fairy Godmother, like I have to read the card. Oh, okay. You
by the way, that
everything in
card
your
is
hand.
so great. I'm gonna die on my hill saying that card's great.
Okay, hold on. I think Shift Fairy Godmother gets actually decent if there's ever a 1-drop Fairy Godmother. But I don't think they're ever
I'm sure I
going to do
could say that about a lot of shift targets, but yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
same with the Shift Tank. That'd be kind of cool.
Man, that would be kind of okay.
Oh wait, that
Just
card's
okay.
still really good.
Wait, there's 2 shift tinks now.
Yeah, there are.
Man, imagine if we got a small beast that we can shift on.
No.
Please
Dude,
never.
it costs
Oh my
beast.
god, please never.
A 3/2 that says inkable 3/2.
Yeah.
Wait, but it's an illusion. Oh no.
Oh, it's an illusion.
Oh no.
I guess we could get into some of the.
I was just gonna say so we've been
can
talking
end on
for an
that.
hour and a half. We should probably end on that.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about these new cards? These dual ink cards?
Dual ink.
Yeah, Hawk Tua. They're except for one. Every card spoiled so far has been trash except for Lady. Lady looks great.
Wait, you guys don't like the Sven, the 2/6 rush?
Okay.
No.
So here,
okay.
here's my thought.
I'll
with
play
that,
Elsa
Chris.
before I play that Sven.
I do think it's playable,
It's playable.
but I think one problem I have with the Sven is it's a mandatory trigger. So like, say your opponent just has a board of locations, you can't actually swing with that character. That sucks. So it's a conditional rush character now. Then, not to mention, I think the exerting a character with Elsa is the best part about Elsa, right? Like, it's not the rush, it's not the evasive, it's the exerting a character that you could actually kill and like take board advantage or tempo back.
Okay, time out. If that card didn't have rush though, and it was just evasive and tap down a character, I don't think it'd be as good. I think it's the rush and tap down that makes it so good.
Both though, right?
Both.
But like,
Yeah, it's both. It's both
but
together.
You would just play it differently, right? If it was just an exert character, like, because it wouldn't be like in red purple, it wouldn't be in like other decks, right? Because it'd be like a blue purple card or something where you could use the shift, right? But the fact that it's also a shift line, I think it just sends it right past Sven. Then
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I do think is really sweet though is the possibility of cards that haven't been talked about, but we can start to like estimate on based on what we've seen. So I guess for those of you that haven't seen, there's two major things that we've learned about the new set. So number one is dual ink, which we are still not 100% sure how it works, but we have a pretty good guess in that what I expect to be the most likely, and I think most people expect it, is that you have to be playing both inks in your deck to play that card. I think that's the general consensus, right?
Yep, I think so.
Yeah. But then the other thing that we've learned is a new mechanic called illusions, which is if this card or this character gets targeted by an action, banish it.
Yeah. Or
which
I guess technically it's illusion's the type and vanish is the mechanic.
Right, sorry, illusion is the type and mechanic, which is very similar to a magic illusions. Like there was phantasmals is what they called it.
Mm-hmm.
But the other piece of it, so just real quick before we get into illusions, I have a weird question for the three of you. If you target an illusion with We Don't Talk About Bruno, what happens?
it vanishes.
No, it doesn't.
No,
Fizzles,
it goes to your
back
hand first.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it goes to your hand, you
do the
discard the
Bruno,
card, and then it tries to vanish and it fizzles. Weird, right?
It's because you always have
is that
to.
the official ruling of it?
You
Yes.
always have to fulfill the card before anything else, right?
Yeah,
But it's not even just that, it's not-
It's
It's also not
Yeah.
two separate lines. It's one gigantic line of text that says, put it into their hand, and then they discard a card from their hand. So you have to finish that entire line of text.
Well, for any card, it works that way. You have to finish the card completely.
So, I guess like my reading of the illusions card. Let me actually pull it up, but because how I read it was that when targeted by an action, it would be banished, right?
Yeah.
So my thought is that it should be a targeted, and then both cards fizzle.
But you have to resolve the effect of the target first.
Interesting.
So like if you target it with like whatever the card is that just gives it -1/-0, then that would, after the target happened, then it would die.
Yeah.
It's weird because it's not like Magic where it puts things on the stack. You have to like resolve the
Correct.
effect and then
Dude,
stuff
painting
happens.
the roses is gonna be sick.
Yeah. But so here's what could be terrifying with illusions. If they make overstated, good, low-cost illusions, it's going to be terrifying.
Yeah. No, for
because
sure.
there's not a lot, like, other than Strength and Storm in Steel, what in the meta targets and doesn't kill already?
Well, there are good 2-cost actions for that exact reason. Like painting is like kind of my first like thought, right? Like I'm just throwing one action out there, but
right,
you would target 2 and then you would banish 2. So like that's an option. Like people would pull out tech, like Heffalumps and Woozles is like a card that like,
oh yeah, that's yeah.
You could technically Heffalumps that card and then maybe Muse bounce another card. So like you have like options there. To,
2 mana kill something draw, or sorry, 2 ink.
There's a lot
kill
of those. Like
draw
even Seldom is a card. It's a 2-cost song that minuses attack in blue. But like we're talking like very like fringe cards that might ever see play. But people would find ways to do it if there was a reason. But
the ones that cycle like Painting and Huffalumps are probably the best versions of that, though.
Yep. If it replaces itself, it would be instant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or helping, like there's the 1-cost actions, right? Like
there's
improvise, like helping hand or something.
Improvise,
like that, right?
Improvise is the one I was thinking of earlier.
Because it's inkable, right?
Yeah.
Which I think like a big thing. I think Lorcana After Dark had this topic brought up about like if a cards should be inkable more. Like, you know what I mean? Like it diminishes the value of a card instantly if it's uninkable. It has to be so good for it to be like included, I think.
I actually think they should make uninkable cards better.
Right. Or
I'm fine. Yeah, like I think they either need to make more cards inkable or they need to make uninkable cards like insane. Because the problem that we have right now is every uninkable card that they ever make, you have to ask yourself 2 questions. Is it better than these really good inkable cards? And is it better than uninkable cards that we already know have already had to beat that threshold and are very good? Like Tremaine and Medusa are going to be very good cards for a very long time until they push uninkable cards even further.
Yeah.
Same with John and Diablo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Diablo should draw 2. I think so.
Diablo should draw like 5.
Yeah.
Well, most of the time he does. But I'm curious to see, because we're coming up to another wave of a possible like change of a card, right? Like it's possible they could errata a card, and then like that could change up a lot too.
Will they though?
Sure hope not.
I hope not. I don't think in my opinion, I don't think anything's errata worthy.
Nothing is Bucky level. It'd
be like Hiram is like one of those top 3 cards, and then like you could probably pick a few others, but
the problem is if they errata Hiram, like they errated Bucky, blue might become worse than amber.
You know what, you say that, but then like decks like green blue are already cutting Hiram and cutting the items package, and I think like there's a world where red blue could survive without an items package as
Did
well.
Level play no items package in his green blue? I didn't look.
Yeah, well, not to mention, I mean Squirtle, who's in the top table of a certain online platform, is also playing no Hiram and no.
I didn't realize you guys were cutting Hiram from the package.
Yeah. Speci is back on Hiram though, and I kind of agree with him that like obviously it's one of the best draw engines. Why would you not play it? So.
I guess I should have looked at your decks closer because I had just assumed there was Hiram in it.
Yeah. The ones I posted recently all have Hiram though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like in terms of the dual ink cards, nothing has impressed me so far. Lady obviously looking like the best one, but again, uninkable. It is good stats. It's a 5-cost, which is probably where you're stopping at inking.
Yep.
So like it fits into the criteria that would require that card to be played or get that card to be played.
It at least has the right things going for it to be uninkable. Low cost, 4/4, gets you 2 cards. Like it's pretty strong. Does it? I can't remember. Does she quest for 2 or is it just 1? If she quests for 2, she's like.
I believe she's
good
2.
Question.
Lady set 7. Is that what set we're on?
7, yeah.
You could check on their Instagram too if that's like maybe easier.
It might be.
I'm pretty sure it's 2, but
she does quest for 2.
Yep.
And then on top of that, we didn't even talk about the fact that if we get a goon lady, she can shift 3.
Yeah, and bring back the shift target and like I think like one thing that's crazy to me too is like shifting in general in this game just makes it so interesting. I think it's like a big fear factor now. Like, I mean, green blue is playing Mother Gothel 2-cost, but without the big Gothel. But like, you're always gonna play like they have the big Gothel, right? Or like same thing with like Tremaine's, and like imagine there was like a good shift target for Tremaine. Like You know, all these things that like really come into play. And I think like my favorite thing in a new format is throwing Morph into a deck and then seeing what actually works now. Like that Milo card is like a card that some people are playing, but like you're never playing a 7-cost uninkable that like is a maybe effect, right? Like you got to have like guarantees when you're playing those kind of big cards. But like, dude, a good like Morph deck, and he's like not a bad one of, right? Like there's these things like that that you really got to think about when like these. I think that's my favorite part about a new set coming out. I love it.
Yeah.
What the red-blue cards look very underwhelming.
The red-blue cards look so bad.
I think there's a world where Bell could survive.
I just don't see it. I was excited about the new Hamada, the 6-cost that increases its power and strength, or sorry, the strength and willpower by 1 for every item you haven't played. It quests for like 3. The problem is it doesn't do anything.
Right.
It's a
you
big
need,
body
like,
that
ETB
quests.
effect.
That's it. Like that just doesn't fly anymore.
Right.
Yeah, every card needs to have like an ETB effect,
or it needs to be stupid cheap and overstated.
Yeah.
Like you can't just have it just be gigantic.
It's
it has
so
to
interesting
be...
that stats are mattering now in this game more than ever. I found that the most fascinating part about this past set is that I feel like it's the most challenging that's happened in Lorcana.
I think that's because you've been playing so much Blurple.
No, do you not think there's a lot of challenging happening? Even
no,
Shark.
I see where you're going, Rick.
I do see where you're going. I just think that Blurple challenges by far the most of any deck in the format.
Oh, well, because it's its only way of removal.
Yes.
But like even Steel, right? You have Calhoun's now. You beforehand you would just sing and then turn sideways.
Yep.
Red.
No,
blue,
I agree. I
red,
agree.
blue,
Fox
Maui,
matters.
But...
Like even like if you think about red purple decks, like low-key Ed was trashing on Crab for the entire time, and like this meta convinced him to play Crab again. Like
this is a Crab meta.
This is literally one of the best Crab metas that there could be.
Right.
So I do agree with you. I just do think it's funny that
even like locations are back now. Like
even red blue is red blue wants to challenge more because
Vitalosphere is in a deck for a reason. Because we need the rush. Well, right, but like you dragon something and then Vitalosphere dragon, there's not a bigger high in red blue.
It used to be when you could Vitalosphere your dragon and kill a library, but
I mean now that is a possibility now. I did get libraried this past weekend.
Yeah. Or do you guys have any? I guess just to wrap up because we're running low on time.
We'll wrap it up.
Are you guys playing any more set champs or any set champs?
Yeah, I'll probably do a couple more, and that's it.
I might be done.
4 more, yeah.
4 more. Oh my god! I wish I lived in such big centers. There are 4 in my province total.
Oh no.
So I have 1 in my city, 1 2 hours away, 1 4 hours away, and 1 3 hours away.
What are the attendance for those?
So the one that I was in my local city was like 22.
Oh,
like we have a pretty decent, like it's a pretty decent scene.
It's not bad.
The one in Saskatoon, I don't know how big it will be. It'll probably be somewhere between the 16 to 20 player range again. So we'll see how it goes. I'm either gonna go in and play Tink because I want to play Tink, or I'll just play Red Blue again because I have hardly had time to play test at all this week because of work, and I just am in Red Blue mode.
Yeah.
But I'm leaning Tink because it sounds like fun.
I would be playing blue cards with whatever color pairing I feel that day.
Purple or red. Or green, I guess.
I want to play Blurple so bad, but like there's just too many people playing Ember Steel in my area. Like half the room is Ember Steel usually.
So I went to a 20-person set champ this past weekend, and I want to say 12 people were on red purple, and that was the one I brought. I brought green blue to that game. It did really well. I wish I finished it out because my bracket in top 8 would have been red purple, and then into Amber Steel wheel was how it worked out.
Hope that deck does not get anything good out of the new set. I do not want that deck to be meta. Having you and TJ fill my hand to remove it is some of the least fun I've ever had playtesting Lorcana ever.
My bad. Dude, me and Pandemonium were going to bring green blue before we noticed that Blurple was just doing better. Like we were so locked in on it, and then we just couldn't win. Like we both were climbing so hard and like just grinding green blue.
How's the red blue matchup?
So that's the issue we found is that you either make the red blue matchup like an 80-20 matchup, or you secure your purple matchups. And so like you could lean into like the manner build, and the item package is obviously better for red blue, but the items package is worse for like every other deck list in my opinion. So like that's the whole idea now, is how do you make the items package better into the other deck lists? Like the no Hiram package can beat purple steel decks. Like, and purple steel is like the hardest matchup by a mile. So it's interesting.
Bounce Pete's against the deck that wants to play actions. Go figure.
Yeah, but if you like play big genies or like the 6-cost genie, right? Like, how does purple steel deal with that? They run out of Zeus's real quick. You know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I like all the decks right now. It's a very fun meta. So go play set champ.
Yeah.
I think this meta is probably one of the best since set 3. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'm surprised I'm not like just sick of it right now, because like at this point in the set is usually where I'm like, all right, new cards, let's go.
I agree.
But yeah, I get very excited for a set champ because it's just different decks for the most part in every round. So
yeah, cool.
All right.
Yeah, I guess
this was a blast.
Yeah,
I honestly didn't think
great.
we were gonna talk for like an hour and 50 minutes in the first
I mean,
one.
I could probably talk to all of you like all day. Like, you guys are just fucking the best. So.
We do talk to each other pretty much all day, periodically.
Yeah, we do.
Periodically.
Dude, Chris doesn't talk enough.
Yeah,
That's my
Chris.
main goal. Is now set 7, get Chris to speak every day.
Get Chris to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, he has to like wait for Ed's permission to talk. It's like the whole thing has to go by corporate, you know.
Yeah,
No, this is sweet.
We'll
Do we have
wrap it up
any-
here? Yeah.
Any shout outs or anything we want to say? I guess we could shout out SLTC. Like, that's the thing to do,
Yeah.
right?
Not a team, just a friend group. Yep.
Smile.
Yeah, silly
Smile.
little token critters.
Yeah.
Silly little token critters. What was the one that you posted? I can't remember what
Salad,
that
lettuce, tomato, cucumber.
Salad, lettuce, tomato. Spells, lore, tactics, and cards.
Yeah, I guess the only shout out is Ravensburger. Please announce season 2 of events. Thank
yeah,
you.
please.
Oh, please give us events.
Something.
Yeah.
Please.
If you wait to do events until after Japan has done their stuff, this game is gonna be in a rough spot.
sick of it.
And he's gone. Oh, he's actually gone. That
That's a
was
good outro.
incredible. That
Yeah.
was great.
Thanks for
Okay.
listening to our first one. Hopefully more to come soon. So we'll figure something out.
This was good. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thank you.